Well, welcome back to Esthetician Edit. Today we're joined by Chic MD Academy. We're going to learn all about their academy and we're going to talk about retail sales specifically. So if you ladies don't mind just telling us what is Chic MD Academy and how do you help estheticians elevate their business?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to chat and be here in New York. And so Chic MD was really created from a need that I saw for solo estheticians. A lot of times solo estheticians get into the business and there's some roadblocks that kind of come up, whether you need business help, sales help, but it's also really being able to sell a variety of products and have access to them and not worry about keeping inventory or products expiring, and then being able to compete with these larger practices that have multiple lines. So we create a sales platform for solo estheticians to be able to access all of these lines, sell product to their clients, and earn commission without having to hold inventory or worry about all of the upheavals that kind of come with having a million products on the shelf and large opening orders and all of that. So we're really helping estheticians improve their business while they're able to just focus on the clients.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a super cool concept.
Is it like, so if I have a client coming in, and if they want to use my products, they would just, I would just order through your site and it would go directly to them?
Right, and then you would make commission.
Okay, I love that. Because I just became a solo esthetician, time flies. It's already been 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
And yeah, my shelves are getting a little bit cluttered because I have a very small space. So that's very helpful, at least in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And a lot of times you invest in a line and you have it and then your client comes in and they're like, well, I'm on this. And you're like,
yes.
oh, well, I didn't invest in that. And so in order for you to not lose the sale, you have access to the platform so that you can order it, it's shipped directly to them. We handle returns. We do all of the hard, heavy lifting for you, and then you're just making the money on it.
Yeah, and it's impossible because there's so many good lines now. To do the opening order requirements for all of them would be insane, especially for someone that's working solo.
27 brands.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Do you mind sharing a little bit of them?
Yeah, we have we have a few. So it ranges from medical grade. We have natural. We have anything from Skin and Confidential to more medical grade lines. We have Revision. We have some Skin Better. We have great overall brands and we have a list on our website too. Yeah.
That's so you can go on their website and check that out.
Yeah.
We're not gonna go talk about the 27 ones.
There's a long list.
But there's something for everyone. It kind of fits whatever your client is seeing or wanting to see with their skincare at home. There's an option.
Yeah.
And something too, I think working in the trade show industry and stuff, and we obviously get to experience so many different brands and so many different products. I feel like I have a favorite from every brand.
Favorite vitamin C.
Favorite sunscreen. Favorite everyone kind of has their star product.
Oh yeah.
And so that's kind of cool that you have so many different brands on one platform.
Yeah, and because as a solo esthetician, you can't open all of those lines just for that one star product, right? So you can find those and really have them available and cater to your clients in that way. And then have your own brands, that you love, but you can have that as kind of a additional benefit to your clients.
Yeah, and what's nice is that you can also kind of try it out. So you can try out different brands, see which one you prefer, and then just go with that, and then open.
Yeah,
keep
And
ordering
the
them.
training is so in depth. So you even before your clients get the products in their hands, you're getting all of that in depth information about each of them. So products that I didn't even know I would love. I got the training on it, and now they're my top faves.
How do you go about choosing the products? Is it more based on what you've used professionally?
Yeah, so I do a lot of research. I love white papers. I love clinical studies. And so I'm really cognizant of I want a large variety, but I want it's really heavy into the medical grade. And then we do have some natural because I think a lot of clients lean in that direction and you want to have those options. But large majority is the medical grade lines that you would need a medical director for, right? Because as a solo esthetician, that's also a hard thing to have.
It also depends on the state too.
Right.
There's different laws per state. It gets complicated.
It does.
And what exactly made you come up with this concept? Like,
Yeah.
was it both of you together? Was it?
Well, I started as a solo esthetician, and I had a product line, and really when I started, I was like, I don't know how to get clients. Am I supposed to like loop them in off the street? How am I supposed to be doing this? And as I grew, I've been an esthetician for over a decade now, and in a lot of different parts of aesthetics. I've been a sales rep. I've run a aesthetics practice for a plastic surgery practice, and so I've seen a lot of different areas of the industry. And I really found that a lot of estheticians that kind of start out on their own, they do it because they love it and they want to help clients and they want to help people. And there's this like business part of it. You're either really good at the business or typically you're really good at the client base, and it's hard to kind of merge the two. And I love the business side and I love the aesthetic side, and so I wanted to help in whatever facet or capacity they needed help with. So that's why we had the education platform and the sales education, and even like how to do your taxes efficiently as a solo esthetician, how to make sure you have the right insurance. Like we lead you in all of those directions. And then you have the sales on top of it. So it's really trying to like just help fill those needs.
Fill in the gaps.
Yeah. So that really started as I saw working with so many estheticians in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I saw like the help that was needed and what was lacking in aesthetics, and it wasn't being done. And so if something's not being done and you're someone who, like me, I want things done in a very particular way and I want them done well and right, you just do it yourself.
Yeah, you
saw
saw
it.
it.
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier with, school, they teach you how to pass boards. They're giving you some of those little tidbits on, sales or whatever it may be, but they're not giving you the whole piece.
Yeah.
So once you're out of school and you're like, I have this license, I have this love for what I'm doing, but I need help with those
business.
How do I get
things.
clients?
Yeah.
How do I retain
Yeah.
clients? How do I sell?
How do I market myself?
And I feel like that's just in general, like in life general, like not even just like as an esthetician, like
definitely.
like normal school that you go to,
Yeah.
you know.
They don't
The adult things are
Exactly.
are not
That's why they always tell you like where you learn is really like at your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're learning at your job, and that's it.
But when you're solo, it's even
Yeah.
harder because like I think when you join like a medical spa or just a
Yeah,
spa in
the
general, they have people that are helping you, and you have a whole team that's doing the marketing. They come in, they teach you about sales. But when you're a solo esthetician,
Yeah, you do it
like
all.
there's like a reel that's going viral where it's like the song "Everywhere You Look," and they're like
The social media.
Social media
You
managers.
are the team.
Yeah, you are the team.
Well, the nice thing about
Yes.
Chic and D is you get the team.
Yeah.
You have all of us, and we're like really invested in the estheticians. Like we want them to be successful.
So what do you ladies each
That's
do?
what I was about to ask. I'm like, wait, what's the roles?
Yeah. So I'll kind of let you guys piece together.
Yeah.
So Amber is a lot of behind the scenes and in front too, kind of multiple.
Yeah, so a couple months ago when Helen had the idea to start Chic MD, she wanted to hire somebody more business role. So my background is not in aesthetics, but I have like grown to love it. So my background's all marketing and business development. So I pretty much do a lot of like the onboarding, signing estheticians up, kind of telling them about what we do, and then just kind of like day to day, like logistics, helping them manage the platform. And then I work with Helen a lot on just kind of like the general marketing of the company and also marketing of Helen's personal brand and like the speaking and all that. So it's been fun.
And then Mariah.
I kind of my background's in somewhat both. So I was cosmetology, I still am, but I work now fully in aesthetics with Helen, with Chic MD, and then I also help with our med spa.
Yeah.
So
So we also have a brick and mortar med spa.
yes,
Oh, nice.
so I'm kind of in both capacities, and really whatever role is needed. I'm just happy.
That's how I feel. I'm like,
I'm just so excited.
But the creative. You're
it
very
kind of
you
meld-
create a lot of the like creative pieces.
It melded both sides of the love for it, right? It's because Helen did have such a clear vision on like what she wanted to do for solo estheticians, and being that I have done service more in like a salon spa environment originally and now fully in med spa, I see those like struggle points that Helen keep saying with Chic MD, this is why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that side of it. And then like we were saying, you get the team, like what has to go in the back end to run a successful business.
And manage 27 brands. It's a lot,
it's a lot.
It's a lot of that.
So it's like when, you don't know as a solo esthetician what SKUs are worth it, what brand is worth it. It's kind of like, I know what that's like because we're doing it on the back end and we want to give the best for all the estheticians for Chic MD. So it's kind of a meld of both loves. Yeah.
And I do a lot of the training pieces and strategy. All
And how long has this been happening for? Like from the moment that it got created to now, how many years, months?
Yeah, so we actually started as a brick and mortar med spa, and I created that and hired a lot of estheticians right out of school that weren't really confident in sales and were doing really $1,000 in product sales a month, just didn't have the tools. And so we kind of developed a sales strategy, a sales training within onboarding, and that took the estheticians to $8,000 to $9,000 in product sales a month.
Wow.
And we were able to copy and paste. We saw it time and time again with every esthetician we onboarded. And I love sales. I have a history in sales. I was, a large part of that was in my role in aesthetics. And so I was like, if I had that when I was a solo esthetician, and the access, right? If I had that training and the access, my business would have flourished and I wouldn't have had to do that much work. I would have had somebody helping me to do that. And so that's really the basis of everything. We want to have estheticians want a fighting chance against these large practices and really be able to love being a solo esthetician, love being an esthetician in general and in aesthetics because it's such a fun space. But when you're doing all of the jobs and you're I just want to see clients or to be able to go on vacation, right? Yeah. Because as you know, if you go on vacation, you are away from making money. Exactly. So if you have this setup where people are just ordering through our site, you're making money even when you're out. So really creating that flexibility is in the center of everything I think about and do, and we just want to add value.
What do you feel like estheticians struggle with the most when it comes to retail sales?
Yeah. So I was saying we were kind of chatting about that this morning. I think we all kind of have different answers on that, which is interesting. So I'm a really big preacher of, if you wait until the end of a treatment to talk about product, you've lost the sale.
Yeah.
It happens in the treatment room. It should happen from the very beginning of the appointment. It should be conversational and educational throughout the entire appointment. So when you get to the end, you say, oh, here's that product I was talking about. And then it's just done.
It's an easy sale.
It's an easy sell. Yeah. And that takes the pressure off you as the esthetician. It takes the pressure off the client because they're able to ask questions that maybe they don't feel comfortable with at the end of a treatment. It's something about you finish the facial, they're on to
the next step.
Yeah,
they're
thinking about their grocery list that they have to go do, right?
Yeah.
You've lost them. And so changing that to during the conversation being well, what products are you on? What do you like? That's my biggest tip. I think that's a lot of times where you transition from salesy to authentic, and it doesn't become a sell. It's an education experience. It's time to have those pieces, and then they say, well, how much is that? Instead of you being here's your product, buy this, and they're oh, how much is it? It's something about the pressure of that.
Yeah. I think for me, what I hear the most is that there's a lot of imposter syndrome, fear. Why would they buy it from me when they can get it at any other med spa on the street, or they can buy it at Target now or Sephora now? And I think one of the things that we were talking about earlier is having them accept that mindset shift that you've gone to school, you are the expert, they are paying for your expertise. So communicating to your clients, obviously, coming to meeting them where they're at their level and not overwhelming them, but having the right product knowledge, knowing what you're selling, knowing how it's going to work for their skin, and just being able to sell yourself too. And building that trust with them, I feel it's going to just bring you more money down the road, because once they use it and they see the results that you had already communicated to them, you kind of set the expectations. They want to keep coming back to you and keep asking. But a lot of times they're hesitant because it's just that imposter syndrome or like that fear mindset. So
we were also talking about like listening to find really what they're saying and not listening just to respond. I feel like as people we do that.
Yeah,
like,
you hear something and then you start focusing on how you're gonna
respond to it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're like really in depth listening to what they're saying, you can find what they mean because communication. We all communicate in different ways. We're gonna, I could say, well, I really love my cleanser. What do you love about it? Instead of being like, oh, that's awesome. I'm so good.
Like because you get nervous.
That's what I was about to say. Like when I go get facials like that, I'm super talkative. Like I love to communicate throughout the entire facial, and I'll ask all these questions. And I notice that there's been times where people will be like, "Oh, okay," and I'm like, "Okay, they're not interested. Like they just want the money. They want to check me out and get out of here. Like they don't care." And then you have those, most solo estheticians are the ones who are really proper with that, and they communicate with you and they ask you like, "Hey, what's going on with your skin? Why is that you like this product, or why I don't like this product for you?" And then you're like, "Oh wow, I didn't know this."
Well, when you love something, you're gonna have those things you love about it. Off the top of your head, products that I love, I know why I love them.
Yeah.
And if they're saying, "Oh, well, I just really like my cleanser," okay, what do you love about it? Well, it cleans my skin. Okay, I feel like we can do better than that. We can do better. So I feel like that's like the biggest thing I see, especially I have had to break within myself is like the script of, okay, I'm asking this question because it's what you do, and then I'm just listening enough to like respond
or sell them.
Right. Where really the intention should be in like what they're really saying.
Yeah, I think if you go into the intention of like, how am I going to help them? Because they're generally coming to you because they feel like there's like a problem or they feel like their skin could do better. Like I just got my retail in a few weeks ago, and this week was like the first week that I started to sell products, and I'm glad that you said that because I started the sale from the beginning, but it was natural because I was like looking at their skin, kind of like telling them what I see with their skin, asking them about it. My thing is, I don't know if I should, like the way that I was taught to sell was like sell 1 or 2 products first, but then I see some estheticians that are like, no, you have to invest and go all in if you want to like. This is like a program. Like I have money here. What you guys have to say about it?
This is like favorite.
Okay, so hot take. I absolutely do not think you should sell somebody a full regimen at any point. And that is. Obviously, it's a very strong personal opinion as an esthetician, but one, if you put them on 8 products, did they start with just washing their face in the shower? One, they're not going to use it. If you're selling them 8 products, they're going to feel guilty for buying it. They're going to stop using it. They're likely not coming back to you, right? Because they're going to be embarrassed that they haven't done it. Because nobody's going from washing their face in the shower to doing 8 products. Like they may buy it, but they're not rebuying it because they haven't graduated to that level. 2 is if they have a terrible reaction, you have no idea what it is.
Troubleshooting is hard with 8 products.
And also, people are really familiar with being sold on things, right? Like we are sold every minute of every day of our life. We're sold on social media. We're at TikTok shop, we're being sold. Like we go to the mall and we're being sold by every person we walk across. We know that feeling. And I think people are really, they come with their walls up a lot of times because they know you're going to try to sell them on a million things, right? And so I always, and a lot of times when you say, I'm not letting you buy this today, their response is, well, but would it be good for me? Like, should I have it? Right? And I automatically typically say when I feel that from a client, I am not going to sell you everything today. I do not want you to start everything today. And you can feel the energy come down. You can feel that wall come down. They're ready to hear you. Because a lot of times we are so used to
just being sold
that our guard is up and we're trying to filter if it's true, like if it's trustworthy enough, right? And so as soon as you say like, I am here as a helper, I am here to like be a partner in this journey with you. I don't want to start everything at once. I don't want you to buy everything at once. I want us to graduate to each step to get you where you want to be. I want to make sure that the products that you're on work, and that if you have a reaction, we know what did it. And we're not having to start at the very top with 8 products and then like break it down
it's
later.
so confusing that way.
And for me as a client, like if I heard somebody say that, I would be like, wow, like thank you so much. It just comes from such a more genuine place. And I promise you, you are going to make and like on a sales and business perspective, you're going to make more on that client long term.
It's a forever client.
It's a forever client, because I no longer am gonna like take advice from social media on my skincare. I'm no longer going to get products from Sephora because the girl likes the way it feels. You know what I mean? Like I'm no longer just like taking the bait on those things, because I found somebody who's invested in my journey and I want to stick to that.
You have
right?
Skin Girl. I'm gonna ask my Skin Girl about this. You know,
But
That's how I feel with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was thinking, because I feel like if you really genuinely care, obviously she's my friend, so like she's struggled with acne like the past few months.
Yeah, it all started like in the new year in January. Like I've been like not even like one pimple.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know what happened. I started breaking out.
Oh my gosh,
We
and
kind
that's
of
so
like
frustrating.
super frustrating. We've kind of like got into like FBI mode.
Because she was like, she would go, obviously we go see a lot of estheticians, so she would go see people, and then they would put her on like one esthetician had her like
it was
take a picture of
it was actually like 8.
products.
And I was like, wait,
I was like,
I
oh
took a
my
picture and I was like, I'm gonna send this to Sam, because I'm like, I'm trusting Sam. Like this is
Right.
like, this is Sam. It's my
Right.
skin girl. Like that's it.
Right.
And you know, I've been like, it's been a couple months now that we worked through it, and she's told me like, okay, you know what, like try this or take this out, or let's give your skin like 2 weeks to not do anything, and then let's start again. And then now she actually put me on Face Reality.
But I started her literally, I was just like, just do the cleanser, moisturizer, like, because I feel like her skin like has just taken too much. So I'm like, let's like for 2 weeks just keep it simple, and then we'll add in an acid, and we'll do it like twice a week.
Yeah.
Because she
went down so much.
Yeah, well, because
magic
you
of a solo
probably
esthetician.
you probably have no skin barrier left.
That's
You
what
have
what I said.
Yeah, and you have to rebuild it, because if you have no skin barrier, your skin's going to react to anything and everything you throw in anyway.
This is so
and
funny.
then you
This is
would
exactly
never
what you
even
said.
know where to start. So
It's a power. It's good.
Yeah. So it's getting better now, but it's like, you know,
Yeah.
I still
No, it's
Figuring
amazing.
out what works.
Yeah.
And
But
sometimes it
it's
sounds
true what you
good.
say, like, you know, reaction. Like, I'm someone who has a lot, like, I get reactions from things. Sam too. Like, most people do get reactions to certain chemicals or ingredients that are in products. And again, if you're going to give them this 8, product
And they've invested, and then you're like, shoot, I don't know which one you're.
Because I'm, for me, it's like, again, like, I'm obviously in the aesthetics industry and stuff, but I'm more of like the client when it comes to that. So I am the person who has to deal with that, and everything that you said, I felt.
Yeah.
So it's very true.
Yeah.
And it's very like you kind of feel scared. You're like, I can't say no to her. Like,
No,
I
true.
have to just buy this.
Yeah.
And then what you said about not using it, there's been so many times. I literally gave Sam like a plastic bag full of like a bunch of different products that I was like,
20 products.
that I was told to buy or
Oh my
use
gosh.
or whatever. And I'm like, here, like, if you want to use it for your spa, if not, just to give away to whoever you think might need it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not using this anymore.
Yeah. And then that's money wasted.
Yeah.
And it's
A lot of money.
it's the drawer of broken promises.
Yeah.
Everyone has the drawer of broken promises, because we have been sold and sold and sold.
Yeah.
And then you look at it and you're like, why do I buy another product? I'm not going to use it, or it's not going to work.
Or
And-
you're throwing away good products, and like they could be like easily like, they're just confused, they're overwhelmed, they look at all their products, like I don't even know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So like she just gave
And
me a
for
bunch,
me-
and I'm like, you have some good
Yeah.
stuff here.
Like for me, my personal likings, like it stresses me out. Why? I don't know, but it stresses me out if it's like 5 different companies.
Yeah.
Like I like for my products to have the same exact brand. Like, I get so stressed out if it's like a cleanser from one company and then a serum from another and then SPF from another. I'm like, no, I don't like this. It has to be like a very like, if it's 1 or 2, okay.
Yeah.
But like when it becomes like every single step is a different product, a different brand, I'm like,
Yeah. Okay, so
anxious.
when that esthetician gave you 8 products, how did that, like, what were your feelings?
well, at
in that
first
moment?
I was kind of like, I'm like, okay, like, whoa, like I just told you that all I use, again, like she asked me the question, I was like, I just told you that all I've used is, the cleanser, and then I go straight to moisturizer, and I don't even use an SPF. And she's like, what, you don't use an SPF? And I'm like, no. And then she's like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do, like, this is what I think that you need for your skin, based off of like what I'm, and like, when they talk to you like that, again, you're being sold on. So it's like, when they talk to you like that, you're like, okay.
rolled up.
Yeah, you're like, okay, well, maybe I do need it. You know, she's talking about this acne that I have here, and she, you know, what she's saying is right, is true. So like, maybe I should be listening to her. But I felt a little uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, like why 8? And they're not inexpensive products.
No.
Like they're like, some of them are like $200 just for one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't
It's crazy.
pay for this. Like I
Yeah.
can't. And then that's when I had sent Sam the picture, and I'm like, Sam, like what do she's like, no, don't like don't.
Yeah.
Like listen to me, and this is what we're gonna do. And trust me, it's really hard for me to listen to Sam, but now finally I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you. But yeah, it's not nice.
And the key moment, like actually, like the very key moment, if you know that you're gonna retain that client, is actually the moment they get in their car and they're about to drive away from your practice, right? Because that moment is either when they're like,
I'm coming back, or I'm never seeing her again.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what I said. I got in the car and I was like, yep, never again.
yeah, yeah. So like maybe she would have made that sale on those 8 products, you would have never come back.
Yeah.
And not even that, you lose the value in like referrals, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Word of mouth. Like if somebody feels heard, we all instinctively want to feel seen, heard, cared about.
Yeah.
We all want to as human beings, right? And in that moment, you felt sold. You didn't feel like she saw you as like, she didn't maybe ask you what your budget is. Because that's my first thing. I'm like, let me meet you where you're at.
I love that.
You know what I
See, like
mean?
I think that that's something super important that like all estheticians should be doing.
Yeah. And so I want that client to get in the car, whether they bought a product or not. Because it's not about that, really.
Yeah.
It's about they get in their car and they're like, wow, I feel like I have somebody that cares.
Mm-hmm.
She heard me. She saw me. She's listening to me. Like, I'm never going anywhere else. I want to tell everyone in my life this feeling that I have.
Yeah.
That's shareable, right?
Yeah.
They get on social media. They're going to talk about it. They get on. That's how, like, that is how you grow your business.
Exactly.
Hearing about people.
And it's
Um,
free marketing.
Yeah, free marketing.
Yeah.
And it's the best market because people listen to other people that they
Yeah,
trust,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
And
I think
so,
that's the best way.
yeah, I think the people that are doing it wrong are the people that are trying to sell you on a million things. So that's my that's my personal take on that. But it's because we've all like we really felt that.
Yeah.
And
And
also
also-
you really could potentially
Yeah.
screwing somebody's skin out.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah,
thing
true.
too. Is like again, like going back to reactions. Like you know, you
Mhm.
never know, and reactions take a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you put it on. Some of them, yes, you might put it on and then it's like right away. But others, sometimes it's a week, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and you're stuck with like. You're like, well, what the heck? Which one was it?
Yeah.
And then you just stop all of them because you're too scared to even start using whatever it was, like where you were, whatever it was that you were using.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stressed. like, I'm having anxiety. Like, I'm anxious from this. You have no idea.
Yeah. No, it's true.
It's a lot of money
feeling.
too.
Yeah. No, if I go back to think of like how much money, and you would think like us in this, like, you know, we're in the industry, so we do get the, like we're very lucky and fortunate to be able to go visit these spas, and we get like free services at
Yeah.
times. We get free products as well, you know, stuff like that. So I can't complain, but it's like when it becomes that one person that's telling you, rather than, you know, again, being a good esthetician, be like, oh, well, I know that you work with X company. Why don't you reach out to them and ask them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're being a little bit more sincere with the person, and by you opening yourself up like that, that's 100% gonna make the client come back.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm never going to anyone else but this
Yeah.
person.
Being authentic time and time again, even like Helen was saying, you might not have sold a product that day.
Mhm.
There have been times where we've, you know, genuinely to make an honest, like sincere referral
Mhm.
to somewhere that does, you know, a service that we don't offer or whatever it may be. You might have lost something in your mind that day, but what you've gained is like so invaluable to like your practice and your client base, which is someone who trusts you and knows that you're there for their benefit. And that's really like, you can't put a price tag on that.
You know who comes to mind when we talk about all of this is Grace. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys, you know, listened to one of our podcasts, but we actually had a podcast with a solo esthetician. Her name is Grace, and she started off being your, right? You would go to her, and then I ended up going to her, and I absolutely loved, from the moment that I even walked in through the door, it was a whole experience. You know, when I walked out, that exact same day, I was like, that's it. That is going to be my esthetician. And I was religiously going to her once a month. I was buying products only from her. Like she did everything that the steps that you just said, she did it all.
Yeah.
And I felt so comfortable. And then unfortunately, she ended up moving like an hour and a half away from like where I live.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy.
Yeah.
I even thought about, now I have Sam. Sam was my new esthetician. But that was the person that I was going to, and I absolutely adore her and I love her, and she does it all the way that you're saying to do it. So I think that she's gonna succeed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
a foolproof thing. Like you can be, the connection is the thing. You can, personalities are different. We're all different. We offer something different, each and every one of us. But everyone can like find a way to make connection.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that I see is I think estheticians get nervous when they see a potential roadblock or they see a challenge in what a client says, and they get a little, not flustered, but kind of deer in headlights. Like if you're like, oh, what products are you using? And they're like, oh my gosh, I love my Ordinary or whatever, you know, like, or like they say some brand that you know as an esthetician, you're like, that's terrible, what are you doing? And they're like, I love it. And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just kind of stop. But that is the golden moment because I just start asking questions. And oh my gosh, cool. That's
Yeah.
great. What do you love about it? What are you seeing?
Yeah.
What is it? Like, are you seeing the results you want? And a lot of times they'll be like, well, what am I supposed to be
Yeah.
seeing from that? And then that's your moment to like educate, right? So it's finding
I
those
love
roadblocks.
that. Are you seeing the results you want? Because I have had girls that say, like, it's almost like they expect you to do a consultation, and to once you start asking them about their products, you see the arms go up like this.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I used to study NLP, so like I know body language. As soon as they go like that, they're like closed off.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I like the products that I
Mhm.
use, and they just say that. I think sometimes to stop you from
Totally, because
talking.
again, wall is up.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
don't want
yeah.
you to sell them, right?
So if they're like that from the very beginning,
Yeah.
like how do you suggest going about it with clients that are like that?
Yeah, so I love doing that. And when I am in the treatment room, it's my favorite client to have because you're a detective, right? So you have to find, I say it like it's the golden nugget question, right? So I start asking so many questions because I want to find that little kernel of like where it's this like aha moment because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I never like come from a negative approach of being like, oh, you shouldn't use that. Like, oh, amazing, you love this product that I actually really hate. And that's great. What do you like about it? And they'll be like, oh, it feels really good. It smells really good. I don't know, just my face feels really good. I'm like, that's so great. Because then I know they like the texture of that. They like the smell of that. I need to find something that actually works that's going to match that feeling for them, right? So they're giving you little clues as you kind of go. You're playing detective. And then you find that nugget, right? Which is like, do you like the results you're seeing? And a lot of times they have no idea what results they should be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's like a vitamin C and they're like, well, what should I be seeing? I'm like, well, vitamin C actually does it's antioxidant protection. It's going to be helping brighten. It should help with pigmentation. Are you seeing that? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, am I even using it correctly, right?
Yeah,
and so
the
you're
brain starts
breaking,
turning.
their brain starts
Yeah.
turning, you open that conversation and you're giving them a moment for education. And then, I always say, like, well, okay, so if you're asking, like, that vitamin C actually is not shelf stable, so every time you're opening it, it's actually oxidizing. The second time you use it, it's probably no longer effective. Here's why we typically recommend a medical grade vitamin C and the stability of that, right? So you can go into that little education piece, or they'll say, like, and you can say, like, I have a product that's very similar, but it's actually useful, it's better because of this, XYZ, depending on what you're talking about. Or if they're like, well, I really love rock retinol that I get at Costco or whatever, you can talk about the benefits that you really should be seeing and making, and then you can say, like, your ingredient deck on the back of your skincare is how much is in something, just like a food label. So you really want to make sure that retinol ingredient is at the higher level, right? Whereas that other one you're getting at Costco, it's at the bottom, and likely it's not effective or being absorbed correctly, right? And so when you just give that little piece of information, typically they ask so many more questions and then they want to listen. And if they're really put off, you can just say, like, I have no intention of selling you any product today. I want to make sure.
Relax.
So they relax. I have no intention of selling you any product today. I just want to make sure what you're using is working. I care about your skin, and if you're using great stuff and you're happy, I'm happy. And
Yeah, if it works for you, it works for you.
yeah, if it works for you, I'm not going to change. If you love something and I think it's not effective, but you love it, I'm not going to change you on a different product, because like, what's the point? I want you to be happy. But if you want results, I want to make sure that we make little tweaks to make sure you're getting the results and you're still loving your product, right? And so typically that gives enough of like that release of the wall that they start
Open
asking.
up a little bit more.
Yeah, and Mariah's seen it time and time again where people have come and they've been like that so aggressively, like, I'm not buying anything, I'm not whatever. And then I see them and
They're like, so great. What are we gonna do next time?
yeah. Or they come out and they're like, well, these 5 products that you talked about, I'm like, but I don't want you to get those. And they're like, but I want them.
There are situations where like people are they're hearing what they never heard before.
Yeah.
They're feeling what they haven't gotten yet, and they're like, no, I'm all in.
But it's
And-
a trust. You have to build the trust.
But that's long term, like we said, long term investment. It's so valuable because now they're like, if you tell them, okay, this treatment product, I want you to use it twice a week, where normally, you know, when people are starting a regimen, they're going to be like, okay, I'll wait on that. Once you've created that trust, you've got them on a few products slowly that they're loving and they're seeing results from, it's a sale time and time again because they know that you're making good recommendations that are for them, and they're going to buy the treatment pad or whatever it may be that.
Or whatever other add-ons that you decide to
Because
get.
they know
Yeah.
that
Oh, like, you know
they
what?
trust you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, you know what? You were on these, but I got this one, and I think that this is good for you because this is this, and they're like, okay.
Yeah,
we
they
trust
also,
you,
if
and
your
I
skin
trust.
changes
Yeah.
down the road, hey, let's
Yeah.
make tweaks, adjustments. Again, it's the forever client that's like so valuable.
I have like a controversial question.
Yeah.
Which might like ruffle some feathers.
Okay.
Because there's like an like
She's like, okay, right?
you probably
I'm ready.
She's like, ask away.
Okay, so like you know how like there's some estheticians online that will be like medical grade doesn't exist, like medical grade, why? That's like stupid, don't use that term. And then there's estheticians that are like, but it does. And I have my own opinion too,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it's probably the same as yours, but
Mhm.
do you mind sharing yours?
She's like, I would love to.
I would love to, and I want to hear your opinion on it too, because, okay, so here's the thing. Probably some of those estheticians don't have access to medical grade, and so, and like valid, and I think that, here's the difference. So if you can sell a product at Target or CVS, or you can buy it on Amazon, then it is not that effective. Because if you have a reaction because there's enough potency in a product to warrant a reaction because it's creating change on the skin, and you got it from Target, and you go back into Target because you have broken out because that product is so effective, who's going to help you? Who's helping you fix that, right? So realistically, products that are going into those places can't be that effective because they don't have somebody guiding them, right? So medical grade, to me, yes, they are using likely higher quality pharmaceutical grade ingredients in their products, which are the active ingredient and not just like the leaf, stem, root of a product, right? And it's creating actual change in the skin. And because of that, you need somebody who has studied the skin, understands the reaction of the skin, understands how to fix a reaction if something happens, and knows about that product. And in order to do that, you have to have some level of differentiator. And typically that's a medical license, medical grade. And I think brands are starting to have maybe buffers in that because they're seeing, a lot of estheticians can be trained, but not every esthetician is created equal to or like does the level of study. So that, I don't know if that really answers it. I think like yes and no, right? Because products you're buying somewhere else are not as effective, and the products that you are buying from an esthetician, but really like the medical grade, do have higher efficiency because they are making physiological change on the skin and they're so potent that you do have to have somebody kind of managing that.
They have to stay consistent too. Like the Amazon seller that's selling your favorite vitamin C, they don't have a medical board that they have to answer to. They're not the standard of the product can vary so much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What is your
So
no.
I used to work for the magazine I like 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
I left, and then I became an esthetician, and then I came back, and it's interesting now being an esthetician how I see things so differently. And when I was in esthetician school, I would follow some estheticians that were like, oh, medical grade, like, you know, that's not a thing, whatever. After working with these brands and actually doing the podcast and interviewing like the formulators and all the science that goes behind the chemists, that go behind like the delivery systems, how things are like encapsulated, like is it actually penetrating into the skin? Just like the innovation, like how innovative medical grade skincare, whatever you want to call it, like the professional skincare is compared to consumer. I feel like there's just no comparison.
Yeah.
Like I think there's so much education behind it.
Clinical studies.
Yes. So I really think like that. I think kind of consumer products are always going to copy professional products if anything, but they lack the whole like education and the team that's going to guide the consumer. And so it's kind of like you need the esthetician, like exactly what you said. But then the products, I mean, I've used products from Target and I like them. There's some products that I use sometimes from like Sephora that they don't hurt my skin, but like what I'm using now, I'm obsessed because I see such change in results.
And that's the thing, people get so intimidated by the price tag on medical grade products, but you will spend double that, if not more, on standard products you buy drugstore retail because
they're not getting results.
They're not giving you any
You're
results.
just buying waiting last night.
Yeah.
And then you buy one bottle, equivalent to the same price as like 3 or 4 of the drugstore, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I was missing out on.
And it's the time factor, right?
it's
You're going
time.
to use a product that is doing nothing, and you're going to use it for 6 months and go through 3 bottles of it and still get nothing, whereas you could have gotten
This one.
and seen results in a month. Like, time is money too.
We were talking about hyaluronic acid on the plate last night, and I was like, I was one of those people, you know, I was like, what are we really doing with, I get it, like hydration versus moisture, but what is it really doing for me? Because I have dry skin, I also have acne prone skin. So, like, hyaluronic acid for me hit a dull note. I was like, okay, I get it. Now that I have a favorite hyaluronic acid, I'm like obsessed with it, and I will repurchase it for the rest of my life. Like, it has changed my skin. I get so dry in the winter, and where I still get a little drier, it is so drastically different. Like you see the value where you see the value, and it's totally worth it.
And I think that estheticians saying that a lot of times is a defense mechanism because they want to make a sale and they might not have access.
Yeah.
But that's also why we're changing that,
Yeah.
right? So that we have the education, that they have the access to those products, that they are able to kind of have those differentiators within their practice. Because that is what I was seeing, was like estheticians were having to use lesser products that weren't making results in their clients because that was the only thing that they could access. And so that's kind of how it all Chic and Be kind of came about, was from a lack of that.
Yeah.
Right. So no, I totally agree.
That's why our trade shows are only B2B. You know, like some consumers.
What do you feel like is the biggest pushback that you get from clients, like when trying to sell? Because I feel like that's a lot of our estheticians say, that's great, but what about if my client says, oh, I'll get that next time? Or like, do you get any common pushback questions from your clients?
So I feel like I haven't had like enough experience for them. Like I've had so far everyone say yes, but I've done her approach.
Okay.
Like I
Yeah.
naturally, because I think I heard it from someone else. Like just start with one product, something that they actually need. And like it was like, for example, one girl this week was hyaluronic, and I'm just like, that's an easy fix that I know if I give this product to her, even though it's not like the most incredible product that I have, it's what she needs and what she's going to see results with like fast because she's dehydrated. Like
Yeah.
she needs it.
Yeah.
So, but as far as like I guess The only, I guess, challenges that I see is that when it comes to the pricing, like so for example, this week, like selling the retail, when I get to the end and then telling them, oh, it costs this much, they were fine. So, but I sometimes have the issue of like assuming that my client can't afford.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot
You sell
of
with your own bank account, which is tough.
you sell with your own bank account.
Yeah, which is really common.
We see clients that will literally, like, if they see the value, again, they trust you, they know you're making a good recommendation for them, they are going to budget other things to get what they want.
But if you feel like it's too much, it gives them, maybe they didn't, and they feel it from you, and they're like, oh, she thinks this is too much for what it is.
Exactly, and that's what I was gonna say.
They feel
Like the tone of your voice.
Yeah.
I feel like would change it all. Because if you are already freaking out on the inside of like I'm scared to tell this person this thing, like the price.
But if you're like, it's $150, but here's why.
Yeah.
You know what
not
I mean?
even just like by saying, oh, it's $150.
Yeah.
Like if it's nothing because you're so like, you know, just go by the way you say it. Like for example, I'm a Pilates instructor and I teach privates, and privates are expensive. Like when I first started, it was like $175. Now they go up to a lot, like it could be $200, $250. And I used to be so scared to tell the client like what my prices were.
Yeah, and if you're scared, I'm scared.
Exactly. So you gotta just own it. Like
It's the imposter syndrome. It's like, you know your worth, but explaining, like, being confident enough to say, this is the worth.
Yeah, because you're putting yourself in their shoes when in reality you don't even know what their shoes are. You know what I mean?
That's so
you're fine.
true.
Just take a deep breath and let it go.
I think what's helped me is like actually using the products myself. I know that the pricing is actually worth it.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you use the products, if you actually believe in what you're selling, and like I'm such a huge proponent on like not only believing in like the results of the products, but like the brand philosophy, the mission. Like I love that stuff. Like I love getting to know the founder. If I like the founder, I'm like I had we had 2 podcasts already with Alexandria Pro, Lena Kennedy, and I don't even wax, and I'm like, she might get me like sugaring people because like I just love her. Like she has such a good energy. She's such a caring person. So like you can tell when you really research a brand, like if the founder is there on the floor, like at the trade shows, and they're, you know, you're meeting them face to face, like that's a brand that you want to work with for sure.
So if there's anyone who's interested in getting any more information on this, like where can they reach out to you? Can they follow you on Instagram, a website?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
So we're on all platforms, and our handle is @mychicmd. And then we have our Education Academy website, which is www.mychicmdacademy.com. And that's where they can apply and like learn more about the platform, the product lines that we talked about earlier. But we're super active on socials, so yeah.
So DM them.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you.
She's like, we're gonna go shopping in New York.